Alright, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. We're doing a rapid reaction on this Seahawks game. This is 3rd and goal here, and this was a really interesting game. I could never really get a good grasp until the 4th quarter. Seattle just kind of dominated this entire 4th here. Kenneth Walker had a phenomenal football game, over 100 receiving yards and this touchdown. Now keep in mind, you can see it a little bit. There's 4 minutes left, but most importantly, it's 3rd and goal. They're on the 19-yard line. It's 3rd and goal. They're up 7. You want to make it a 2-possession game, and Ken Walker just says, I'm going to do it myself. So we're going to get into this reaction because this defense was very dominant and kind of surprised at the score a little bit. So here's the catalyst to the football game, and you don't really get a good angle. We have the football all the way over here. Now you can barely see it, and of course we don't have a good angle to show you here, but this is Caleb Johnson, and the ball touches him. It looks like it touches his fingertips. Kind of looks like he also even gets it on his face mask. And I'm going to assume he thinks, because he's done with this play. I'm going to assume he thinks this ball is going into the end zone. I'm not really sure what the confusion here is with Caleb if he touched it. I'm like I said, assume he thinks the football is going into the end zone here. And George Holani just comes in here and he scoops it up. And this is a touchdown for the Seattle Seahawks. You're about to see him put his hands up. That's a touchdown. So it's 17-14 at this current point. There's 13 minutes left in the 4th. Caleb Johnson muffs the return. Holani falls onto the football, and just like that, it's 24-14 in a huge special teams touchdown for the Seattle Seahawks. This was really, a huge turning point in this game because it gives you a 2-possession lead. It was really interesting to watch live. I'm really happy for Seattle getting this win here. Really needed it. It's week 2. You're on the road against a really difficult defense in the Pittsburgh Steelers. This is early on in the 1st quarter, and if Darnold had only thrown 1 interception, I think people would kind of view this a little bit differently. But we've got a beautiful route concept that you've seen across the league. It kind of reminds me of Justin Fields to Garrett Wilson in week 1. And this is going to be Torrey Horton's first ever NFL touchdown, and I'll show it to you. He's up at the top here. You got JSN, bunch of crosses being ran here. And Torrey Horton and this whole offense, Darnold threw almost 300 passing yards in this football game. 2 touchdowns. Here's the first one. We'll get into the A.J. Barner one. JSN, 8 catches, 103 yards. You see him down here. Cooper Kupp, 7 catches, 90 yards. He had a huge game. Torrey Horton, 2 catches, 32. Elijah Arroyo, 2 catches, 31. A.J. Barner, 226 and a touchdown. Darnold did a really good job of spreading this ball loose. JSN, Cooper Kupp having a combined 15 catches and almost 200 combined receiving yards. Like I said, if it wasn't for those 2 interceptions and Cam Hayward deflected the first one wasn't good. It was to Jalen Ramsey who intercepted that football, and it was not a good throw, not a good decision by Sam Darnold. But they dominated pretty much every aspect of this game, which is kind of what I was saying at the beginning of this video here. They had almost 400 yards of offense. They barely gave up 250 or kind of around 250 total yards of offense. A lot of that was kind of on Pittsburgh the last couple of drives there. They did a phenomenal job, and we'll get to this defense here in just a second. But the offense, you might see some nitpicking going around the league because Darnold was getting rushed. He only got sacked twice, but he was getting rushed all around. This is a great job. Clean pocket here. He still ends up getting whacked. But great throw to Torrey Horton to start off this game. All right, here we go. 3rd and 7. I love when these big-time players are making big-time plays. We got my former Packer, which, by the way, guys, hit that like button, hit that sub button for daily NFL content. We haven't done a Seahawks video in over a week. That first loss was very annoying, but this team did a really good job at getting to Aaron Rodgers. I feel like he, as well, was kind of running for his life this whole football game. This is early in the 2nd quarter. It's 7-6, but it's 3rd and 7. And we get some pressure up here, and Aaron Rodgers is going to end up stepping into this. He thinks, he sees a bunch of grass here. He can use his legs. And Jarran Reed right here is just going to bring him down. Now, Byron Murphy had a phenomenal football game. I think Jarran Reed had a really good football game. They were missing a couple of players, like Nick Manwari was not in this game. Devin Witherspoon was not in this game. So we're going to talk about that Darion Kendrick interception here in a second. But against the run, I think they did a really good job. And even against the pass and Aaron Rodgers, the Steelers offense didn't really have much going this entire football game. This defense did a very, very good job of mitigating touchdowns, keeping it to just field goals. Only gave up 17 points, and technically there is a little bit of garbage time left here, but it's going to be 17 points, and I think the defense did a phenomenal job putting this offense and the Seahawks team in a great position to win this football game. Get into that touchdown here. We got Cooper Kupp. We got Elijah Arroyo. Love these two tight end sets. And then you can barely even see A.J. Barner. He's going to come around right here. This is halfway through the third quarter. It's 14-17 Pittsburgh. So the game is obviously not within or without or out of arm's reach. There we go. Can't really talk in today's video for some reason. But this is a phenomenal throw. And like I said, I know you're going to probably see a ton of Sam Darnold skepticism on the timeline and on TV this upcoming week. But a win is a win, especially against this Pittsburgh Steelers defense. And, like I said, you can barely see the score. It's 7-14, and it was just kind of didn't really feel like Seattle should have been losing that game. And what I'm liking right here is Darnold's looking for his first read. He's looking up here to, that appears to be Cooper Kupp. I can't tell. We'll see this in just 1 second. But he's looking at this slot. Actually, we got Cooper down here, and that appears to be JSN. It's a little bit blurred with the pausing right now. But what he's going to do a really good job of is getting this linebacker. It looks like Patrick Queen. He's watching the eyes. He's watching Sam Darnold's eyes here. And when he decides to look on back, you've got just a little bit of separation. And you can tell Patrick Queen, right when Sam Darnold, he's looking, Sam Darnold throws this football, Patrick Queen sees it coming, and this ball is very nicely thrown right on target. Kind of, like I said, hard to pause it here. A.J. Barner is a very underrated tight end. He had a very underrated rookie season last year. Then you also have Elijah Arroyo, the rookie out of Miami. So the more the merrier, man. This whole offseason, people were talking about how Seattle doesn't have too many weapons offensively. We saw Ken Walker light it up today. We saw Zach Charbonnet do it 1 week ago. JSN had a great game. Cooper Kupp had a great game. Torrey Horton had a touchdown. Elijah caught a couple of balls. A.J. Barner caught a couple of balls and this touchdown. And I know it was a little bit sloppy. That's usually how it is early on in the NFL season. And a win is a win, especially on the road against the Steelers defense. All right, guys, we got the sack here, the interception. All right, this is 3rd and goal, and this is a really interesting situation. This is Darion Kendrick's first interception. And, like I said a couple of minutes ago, no Devin Witherspoon in this football game. There's no Nick Emmanwori. They're a little bit slim at the defensive back, or just the secondary, I should say. Get some good pressure. You can also tell here it's 3rd and goal. So we got, I just crossed it out, but it's 3rd and goal. It's 14-14, 4 minutes left in the third. And I don't really think this is Rodgers' intended target, because Calvin Austin, you can see it a little bit. He's going to get his hand on this football. I don't know if he's trying to throw it to Pat Freiermuth right here, but Calvin's going to tip this ball, and it's going to fall right in Darion Kendrick's hands. This was a big turning point here. It's tied. Pittsburgh, even if they don't get this touchdown here, they're about to take the lead, no matter how you want to chalk it up. And they get a huge red zone turnover. Kobe Bryant also had an interception. I'll probably show that to you, actually, before we get out of here. Kind of another defensive game sealer. We got Byron Murphy here. Now, this one's going to be... Aaron Rodgers needs to throw this football. It's 31-17 right now. It's 1st and 10. There's 3:38 left in the fourth quarter, and you're down 2 touchdowns. And I think Pittsburgh had all 3. They do have all 3 timeouts here, and you just see Byron Murphy come on in here and get this sack. They had 3 sacks in this football game, 2 interceptions. I think the defense did a phenomenal job holding Aaron Rodgers and this whole Steelers team to pretty much nothing. Rodgers only 203 passing yards, 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions, 18 of 33. They only gave up 72 rushing yards, giving up 3.4 yards per carry. And I think all in all, I know it was a little bit rough at spots, like those 2 interceptions, but this team comes away with a win against a huge, talented defense in the Pittsburgh Steelers on the road. So thank you for watching. That's all we got today. We'll do an all-22 on this in a day or two, an all-22 video breaking down some film. Let me know your player of the game down below, and we'll see you soon. Peace.